Let's get started. There may be people walking in. It's a busy week where we're back from CAG in Vancouver, and here we are. So welcome, and thank you for attending the second seminar for this year. The idea with these seminars is to have an intimate group of researchers, graduate, undergraduate students, seniors, community members, so that we can have discussions, showcase some research that's going on. It could be local. In this case, we have colleagues from just across the city, and in other cases, it could be international, national, that sort of thing. This year, we're exploring the theme of visual methods and knowledge exchange. So people who are doing research a little bit differently, using either different methods, visual methods, and trying to engage more closely with community audiences. So today we're thrilled to have Courtney Kennedy and Patricia Hewston. They're from GERAS, which is the geriatric
No, it's the GERAS Centre for Aging Research.
No, you're GERAS Centre for Aging Research. Okay, so there we go. And they're going to present their work on the GERAS Dance program, Dancing for Cognition and Exercise. A little bit about our two speakers. Courtney Kennedy is the clinical scientist and associate scientific director at GERAS. She has a background in epidemiology, implementation science, and gerontology, and has led clinical interventions, tools for aging, including work on frailty and dementia. And this is, she's the lead for the dance project here. And Patricia Hewston is a registered occupational therapist and a postdoctoral fellow at the Department of Medicine and GERAS Centre. And Dr. Hewston is pursuing a program of research in aging and mobility with a specific interest in the fear of falling and cognition. So please welcome, please join me in welcoming our two speakers today. I'll turn this over. All right, thank you. Let's see if this is working. You have to be close. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Go to the,
I got it, just have to plug in one of the USB stick.
there's only two USBs.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
All right, so I'll just put this thing on here.
There we go. Okay, so today we're going to go through our GERAS Dance program, and it's turned into a program of research. So we're going to go through kind of why we're interested in dance in the first place, the feasibility study we did, and then how we've been able to scale this up and offer it more widely in the community. So I'm just going to start first with a quote, because we've been talking a lot, this is all about mind and body health. So in the future, our healthcare system will become increasingly taxed with the influx of seniors and disability stemming from cognitive mobility declines. And to circumvent this mounting stress on seniors in the healthcare system, we need to support the creation of a culture that enables people of all ages to exercise both the mind and the body. And this is a priority. This is from the CIHR group. So I think you'll see, hopefully by the end of our presentation, that we're trying to make this connection, the mind-body connection, and that we absolutely are trying to create this as a culture and get this more using our research evidence into practice. So there are a number of dance programs that exist. One of which that is probably most famous is Parkinson's for Dance. And that's a worldwide initiative, and we have actually a co-investigator, McMaster, Dr. Wilhouse, who's involved in that with ballet in Hamilton. So that's very much an amazing program targeting individuals with Parkinson's. So our population for GERAS Dance is more targeting individuals who have early cognitive and mobility limitations. So that might include mild cognitive impairment and pre-frailty or frailty. So I am going to spend just a little bit of time talking about that cohort so that we will build a case for why we want to do that. So mild cognitive impairment, MCI, is really is some of the early decline in cognitive function. So often you don't know an individual has MCI because these individuals are, I remember, functioning independently in the community, but it's that early decline in cognition where function is worse than expected but it may not even lead to dementia, it often does. But that's, yeah, so it's the earlier declines. So that's one of the groups that we're really targeting. And it often coexists with frailty. So cognitive and physical function are very much hand in hand. So many of our participants also have pre-frailty or frailty. So this is one of my areas of research. So I just have to say a little bit about frailty. So one of the prevailing models is that frailty is an accumulation of deficits. So the more things that we have wrong with us, the more likelihood that we're going to be frail. And it's a multi-dimensional concept. So it has physical underpinnings, cognitive, psychological. In this particular model, we build in some of the medical problems, and of course, the social frailty. And we have to take into context of the environmental situation. So thinking of it as this multi-dimensional construct is also what we're targeting with dance, as we'll see later. So individuals with frailty are at risk of all types of things, increased hospitalizations, ER, fractures, falls, so it's all kinds of things. But the important point, I think, is that it's not static. We can actually improve frailty, or we can, once you've started that decline, we can maybe halt that. So a lot of the other research that we do at the GERAS Centre, we actually just got a big grant on frailty rehabilitation, is what model can we do to really help people in those earlier stages from getting worse. So some of the common symptoms, I mean, there's a lot of different things, but include weakness, reduced walking speed, so you might have impaired balance. Often people report having lower energy levels and exhaustion. So those are some of the hallmark things of frailty. And recently it's become a very much a public health priority. So we were at a frailty conference a couple of weeks ago, and they just released a report that day on how we need to be measuring and targeting frailty from an Ontario perspective. And we know that there's lots of Canadians living with it. So in the next few years, if we're doubling the population over the next 20 years, by they're actually estimating that 2025, 2 million Canadians will be living with frailty. So, and just briefly, so I talked about mild cognitive impairment and frailty. They often coexist. Independently, they're relatively common, particularly as we're getting into our 80s. It's becoming more common, so frailty may be as high as 1 in 2 women over the age of 80, 1 in 4 men. And cognitive impairment, it depends how you measure it. It's a very wide number. It's sort of hard to put a fix on that, but it could be somewhere between probably about 15 to 20%, the wide estimate, over the age of 70. So why I mention these groups and why the GERAS Dance program is particularly targeting individuals with earlier declines in physical and cognitive health, so cognitive impairment and pre-frailty, is we really think that dance and physical activity is good for everybody, but why in particular, that could be a really critical window for intervening to prevent that tipping point to go into a further decline. And particularly from a research point of view, we think that when we're studying the cognitive impacts of dance, that's what we really want to see. So when you already have you're at risk, now can we do something about this? And actually, we had a guest speaker in my class from the Alzheimer's disease yesterday, or from the Alzheimer's Society, talking about how a lot of the drug trials haven't panned out, right? So there's no cure for dementia at this time, and everybody's looking into this. But behavioral interventions and things like dance can really make a big impact. So I think we're very timely in looking at other ways to address the onslaught of dementia. So, so one of the reasons we're looking at dance is that it's mind and body, like I said, obviously. But evidence is emerging that it's demonstrating that doing cognitive and physical training simultaneously is particularly good. So a little journal publication called The Lancet there in 2016 came out with an article that looked at treadmill plus virtual reality training. So they had people in the virtual reality doing real life challenges, balance challenges, could have been things on the landscape they were really dealing with, and compared that with just treadmill training. And they had a pretty significant effect that it actually decreased falls. That was the primary. I'm sure it did a lot of other things, but they were really looking at, could we do this to decrease falls? And the interesting thing is that it actually had lasting effects 6 months after the program. I think there's been a couple of editorials, so great idea, great program. It may not be as easy to get this in our culture and on every quarter, so that's why I'm making the case for dance today, but we know that that is particularly good, so the cognitive and physical together. Everybody knows about Tai Chi. Tai Chi also has lots of excellent evidence. We're also osteoporosis researchers, and that's one of the best things actually for maintaining your bone density and decreasing the risk of fractures, because there's some obvious benefits. It's working on balance, on strength, muscular strength. And this is actually a meta-analysis that looked at the impact of Tai Chi on cognitive function. So basically, I mean, I think there's more work to be done on this, but it did show that it improved global cognitive and memory functions. So Tai Chi, another excellent mind and body intervention. So along those lines, so we're thinking, so with dance, one of the benefits is that not only are we doing the cognitive and physical together, we've also added in that social element. So the emotional part of dance, the social interaction, the acoustic stimulation, the musical part, combined with doing cognitive and physical together. Anybody who's tried to learn new dance steps know how hard it is to actually do that and to be moving your body and thinking about it at the same time. Yeah, it's pretty obvious maybe why that's creating some new neural pathways. So our hypothesis is that those two things together make it particularly a good activity. So I'm just going to briefly look at how dance might actually benefit health in terms of some of the mechanisms. So there has been work done, and this may be across, not just in older adults, so looking to see that how dance improves physical function, and it does all kinds of good things for body composition, improving to improve flexibility and musculoskeletal function. So there's quite a few things on the physical aspects. I won't go through all this, but that, you know, dance could improve even things like bone mineral content and improve our balance and our risk of falls. Some of these other things, agility and gait speed. That's Patricia's area of research, is the gait stuff. She can speak more broadly to that, but so there's obvious evidence for dance and physical function. In terms of what we'll talk about more today, in terms of cognitive function, there's still accumulating evidence. We need more. I'm just going to preface it. I'm absolutely not a brain scientist, but I'd like to point out some of the things that it could actually be doing in our brains. So, I mean, there has been some studies looking at this and showing that dance increases activity in the premotor cortex, in inferior parietal lobule. Clearly, I'm not a brain scientist. But then it also activates part of our other parts of the brain that involve higher order behavior. So there are some more basic studies looking at that in terms of, this is kind of cool too, is looking to see can dance actually stimulate new neural pathways. So changes to brain white matter, structure and motor control, cognition, emotion, and learning centers. There has been some evidence, I don't know, Alicia helped me put these slides together, that this is something that has been looked at. I think there's still a lot more to be done, but definitely there is some early evidence showing that we can actually create new neural pathways. So that's some of the brain stuff. It'd be nice to include some of these measures. In terms of what we are doing, we are very much focused on functional benefits of dancing in this older cohort. And our occupational therapist, Patricia, is going to talk to us very shortly about some of these outcomes. So we are trying to improve people's everyday lives and see if this is something that could help people with everything, really. But I would also want to point out, I think one of the benefits of dance, it can also be an aerobic activity, right? So in addition to being a cognitive workout, it's may have benefits in terms of you're actually getting moving, you're getting your heart rate up too. And it's social and you're enjoying yourselves. So I think we have a video, right? Okay, so I'm going to play a little video. It's a little bit embarrassing because we're in the video. But, so we actually received funding from the Retired Teachers Association of Ontario. Foundation. Get it right, Courtney.
Close enough.
Yes, and we have the executive director actually here with us today. And so yeah, we're so grateful to receive that funding because we were able to make this a big video series. And this is Patricia and I just doing a little cell job on the video. So I'll play that, and then I think I'm going to pass it over to Patricia to tell us about some of our work.
Oh, my fingers.
Oh, that's the video.
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Dr. Courtney Kennedy.
And I'm Dr. Patricia Hewston.
And we are clinical scientists at Hamilton Health Sciences and McMaster University. We are here today to tell you about the GERAS Dance program, developed by dancers in rehabilitation and geriatric medicine professionals at the GERAS Centre for Aging Research at Hamilton Health Sciences.
GERAS Dance is a great way for any older adult to challenge both their body and mind by learning something new.
The program has also been designed to accommodate the needs of individuals with early cognitive and mobility limitations, such as difficulty climbing stairs or problems with memory. So Patricia, why dance?
Dance combines the benefits of movement, music, and social interaction into one activity. Not only is dancing fun, but it also has the extra benefits of having both a mental and a physical workout at the same time. The challenge of learning new routines and coordinating our bodies can help improve our mood, brain health, and balance.
Right, and this can also improve our confidence in doing activities that we enjoy. So as we step to the beat together, we may even create some new pathways in our brains and get a good workout.
In this program, we'll be challenging balance, coordination, and rhythmicity. We'll be first learning the foundational dance steps, and then using these to learn full dance routines. Everything will be completed seated and then standing.
We will show you step by step how to learn salsa, cha-cha-cha, jazz, and rock and roll, and many more. Ultimately, the goal of GERAS Dance is to keep older adults healthy and active as long as possible. It's also a great way to have fun and meet new people.
So let's move to the beat.
So that was some footage from our pilot study, and again, thank you for the funding for us to be able to make that video for a promo. I'll be sharing some other videos as well throughout. And we're replaying it. Okay. So I'm first going to talk about some of our pilot work. So our pilot work was funded by the Large Optimal Aging Initiative and also the Alzheimer's Society Foundation. So the objective of our pilot work was to determine the feasibility of the GERAS Dance program for older adults with cognitive impairment or frailty. We looked at barriers and facilitators to participating, how we can have this cohort follow instructions, and also challenge them, but in also maintain safety. So in our pilot study, we had the participants who were average age was 77, and our oldest participant was age 89. We had 28% of men in our study, and the cognitive score was a 21 on the MOCA, indicative of mild cognitive impairment. For mobility, we measured their mobility with the pre-frailty phenotype, and we found that 96% were pre-frail or frail, with 22 out of 25 being in that pre-frail range. So for the intervention, the GERAS Dance program is tailored for this cohort. And we tailored the intervention in terms of the cognitive components of having a similar class structure throughout. So it was very constant every time they came. We started with an introduction, the same warm-up to kind of get that feel going in the room and have that level of comfort. The dance steps changed throughout the program. And we had a constant cool down, and we also had homework and socialization at the end, which I'll be talking about later. For the frailty piece, we had a progressive curricula that increased in motor complexity and balance demands. We had them first complete the dance in seated and then standing. And if they're unable to stand, they can repeat the steps while seated. So we were taking into account both the cognitive challenges and challenges that someone might have if they were frail. The program for our pilot study was 15 weeks, and we had 1-hour classes 2 times weekly. Our classes were held at the YMCA on Tuesdays and Thursday afternoons. So this is an overview of the GERAS Dance curriculum. So the curriculum was designed with 5 foundational dances. In the beginning, we taught the individuals how to move their bodies forwards and backwards, and then how to move side to side. And then we started to increase the motor complexity of having full body coordination. So coordinating your upper and lower body while moving front to back, and then coordinating your upper and lower body by moving side to side, which is quite challenging because most hip fractures actually occur falling to the side, so that movement is more difficult. In foundation number 5, we started to increase the speed and rhythmicity of the dance. And then in our routines, we had 7 different routines that they learned, and that combined all of the foundations that they learned in the earlier weeks of the class. And for the homework piece, the homework piece was a real highlight of our program. The participants at the end of the class, once a week, so on the Tuesdays, were given a homework handout. And the homework had 2 dance steps to practice, which they learned the week before, and 2 balance exercises that we had them practice. And they had checked off each day that they completed their homework and handed it back at during the next week to the dance instructor. And this was, again, a very positive part of the program, and gave the participants a sense of accomplishment that they were able to complete their homework. They come in with their homework sheet being class, I did it this week. And the science behind this was we wanted to increase the physical activity to 180 minutes per week. And it's not feasible for this cohort to come to the YMCA every day. So we incorporated the homework piece. So for the outcome measures, so this is specifically for our pilot study. We looked at the feasibility of running the program. We had tracking sheets and attendance sheets to look at the recruitment, retention, and adherence. And we had a feedback questionnaire on the last class to look at the satisfaction and social connectivity of this group. So moving into our results, we had a cohort of 25 older adults who were recruited half from our community partners from the Alzheimer's Society in Saxville, and half were from our outpatient clinic at the Center for Healthy Aging at St. Peter's Hospital. So we enrolled 25 individuals into the program, and we had 5 dropouts for unrelated incidents, unrelated to dance, due to illness, injury, and 1 person did pass away. So our overall retention in the program was 80%. So for our adherence was very high. On average, 72% of the classes were attended by the individuals, and 83% of the participants completed their homework most days or every day. So 5 to 7 days they completed their homework. In terms of satisfaction and social connection, the satisfaction was very high among this cohort of individuals. 90% rated the program as excellent, 92 rated it as a just right challenge, and 100% would recommend to a friend or family member. And they kept on asking us, when is the next class? When are we going to have this as a regular part of the Y? Which Courtney will be talking about later, how they expanded the program. Also, something interesting or neat that happened throughout the program was that 50% of participants started having a coffee club before class, and making those social connections. So the bonds were not just within our dance class, but also extended beyond. And this coffee club, when we went to the YMCA, this coffee club is still happening. So even though the class is not currently being offered right now, the coffee club is still happening. So that's great that they were able to maintain those social interactions. And some feedback that we got from our participants, that they loved everything about the program, it helped them learn balance and strength. And another very powerful feedback was from one of the caregivers that said that their father-in-law now has a zest for life after attending this class, and it really gave him that spark after participating. So for our pilot study, in conclusions, the GERAS dance, we concluded that it's feasible and enjoyable for the participants, and that the curriculum grading, so the duration of the class, the sequence of the events that happened in the class, and the instructions were well tailored to this cohort. And also that the balance was not too challenging, but challenging enough for this cohort. So we wanted to make next steps on how are we going to take this pilot study and how are we going to share this knowledge with everyone to keep this rolling and expand the program. So that takes us to our next study, which is our knowledge translation project, which was funded by the Retired Teachers of Ontario Foundation. So this was to make the GERAS dance videos. So that was our promo video that we showed earlier, but we also made a series of videos with this funding. So the goal of this side project was to develop 12 high-quality videos for this cohort based on the pilot evidence of our pilot project. This is a one-year project, and we had 4 phases. The first phase was our planning phase, then we had our filming phase, our piloting phase, which we piloted with instructors, and we're going to be piloting it with a group of older adults. And last, which we're in right now, is our dissemination phase. So for this project, we used an integrated knowledge translation model. We had 3 professional dance instructors from the YMCA, 6 older adult representatives, and 6 clinical researchers on our team. What we set out to do was to make 12 videos that were 5 minutes each. We made a warm-up and cool-down video, 5 foundational videos, 4 dance routines, teasers for social media, and a promo video. And how we measured the success of this project was, did we have the materials made for 12 high-quality videos? Do they have high usability, and do they have high acceptability among both the YMCA instructors and also the older adult participants? And this project was key to building capacity within the GERAS dance program, because now we have a progressive video series where we can help train the trainer and keep it rolling. So this is the product of our RTO funding, which is a toolkit that we developed. So this is on our GERAS website in a password protected area right now, where all these videos you can click on, the trainers have access to them so they can practice them at home to make a toolkit. We also have appendices about all of our attendance sheets available on there, and tracking measures, our homework, and a music folder as well. So these are just some highlight shots from our video series, and where we did the foundation routines. We had them both seated and standing, and there's always verbal cues and music throughout the entire video to tailor to our population. So I have a quick one of the teaser videos of our cha-cha-cha, which is our favorite routine. And I think
You can practice along too. It's actually it's more challenging than you might think, even though it's seated.
Steps. We're going to step forward and add the cha-cha-cha. So we have the front and then back. Good. Big step, cha-cha-cha. Feel free to throw that cha-cha-cha in there with me.
Dr. Kennedy to move evidence into practice. So how do we take now this toolkit and start to roll it out across Southern Ontario?
It's fun, right? And the music's fun too. So I mean, a lot of it, I think, that we discovered in the pilot, the music was very much geared towards, there was different generations. I mean, going from 60 to 90, you're going to have some different music generations, but definitely selected songs from all of those from, probably the 50s and 60s were mainly the bulk of the songs. But yes, we had a lot of fun with that as well. I also wanted to just say too about, I'm going to talk a little bit about the science too, is in terms of Patricia mentioned about the dose. So you're trying to aim for 180 minutes, right? And there's actually very good evidence in meta-analyses to prevent falls that you really need to hit that 180 minutes of doing things like strength training and balance. So feasibly, I mean, that's why, yeah, it'd be great if they could come in 3 times, but twice a week, plus doing some of that at home and really giving people that guidance about how they can actually do that. And coming back to class, it's that follow-up. That's another way, because we know in any studies, appearance is always an issue. In our own lives, try to get juggle yoga and running, and it doesn't always get done. But when people are expecting you to do that, and they're coming back and they ask you about it, you're going to actually do that, right? So, so I just wanted to mention that. I mean, I think because, like we talked about, we're trying to change the culture and do things where we can actually support people in doing these things. So that is why we were very pleased. So we had, yes, we're very grateful to the support from the Large Optimal Aging Initiative and McMaster Institute for Research on Aging, and then taking that work, and we were fortunate to get funding for the Center for Aging and Brain Health Innovation, so it's called CABI. So CABI provided us this funding to really take that initiative in more of an implementation stage. We'll look at some of the science, but a big focus of it is to see how do you take a program and standardize it and scale it up and train people and see can you, because we actually ran our pilot program here in Hamilton at the YMCA, the Les Chater on the mountain, and we happened to have a world dance champion as our instructor, Olivia. I don't know if Amanda remembers her, and she was amazing. And so they really developed that bond and all that. But so how do you take that though and make sure, can you translate that to all just regular instructors or to other people in the community who are going to run this program? So that's a big focus of an implementation study. So technically our objective was to evaluate, or is to evaluate the feasibility, potential effectiveness, and implementation of the program using the RE-AIM framework. So putting a bit of a science implementation lens on it, I won't get into that, but the RE-AIM framework looks at what your reach is. So are you recruiting the target audience? Are you actually getting it out there? One of the things we're going to look at is can we get the bodies into our sites? I think we will be able to, but then we will look at some of the effectiveness. That may not be including brain measures, but sometimes when you're looking at effectiveness, you're also thinking about things like satisfaction. It's also part of the staff trainers and participants. We're asking them, how did you find this experience? How can we make our training materials better? So that's some of our effectiveness measures. Then we'll be looking at the adoption. So are we able to actually take that program and replicate it in the implementation aspect and roll it out across the sites? And maintenance and the RE-AIM would be, yes, so now you've done this, do you have some legacy? Is there the capacity to actually keep running this? So we have 3 phases, and we're currently, we've developed it for the most part and have done some of the initial training. Actually, let's go back to this picture here. We just did this about 2 weeks ago at the Grimsby YMCA. Had a lot of fun with, I think, 28 instructors. If you want to have a good day, you get a bunch of YMCA instructors in the room. They're high energy. It was an amazing group to work with. Yeah, we just had a lot of fun rolling it out that day. So in the first phase, I don't think I'll get into this in too much detail, but basically it was taking what we've done in the pilot and then really making this into more of a trainer-trainer model. And in developing. Patricia did these amazing manuals. They're very professional manuals. And putting all the stuff that goes with that is how would you actually, make sure we have the right music, how do we run the program. We did some stuff on how do you communicate. So there was training on working with individuals who have cognitive impairment because that's important. So we did some of that stuff. And then, to roll something out to multiple sites. It takes a lot of work. So we're doing we have these amazing team leads. We have one from each of our regions. So because this is going across Hamilton, it's going to be in Burlington and Oakville, and across Niagara. So these are our awesome team leads who are from the YMCA and working in partnership with us to really roll this out. And also our champion from the YMCA is Genevieve Paladish, who is the regional director there, and is really helping us to put that from the implementation and adoption. We can't do it without having people embedded in these organizations. So yes, I already went through that. So that's our site expansion so far. It will be back in the Les Chater facility on the mountain, which our prior participants can't wait. So I think about half of them are going to take it again. So they were very happy to receive the phone call. And then, this is what we're going to do. So we're going to roll it out with, we have master trainers. So using a train-the-trainer model to get that rolled out. Basically, so our target over the next year is that we want to try to recruit 600 older adults. And we will, like I said, we'll do a little bit of some of the measures and intake and outtake assessments. That's also, it's not just for us, it's basically because you want to get to know the participant and make sure they're safe to take this and to get oriented in the first week. So that is actually, we're starting that in November. We're in recruitment phase right now, so we're getting going on that. So this here is, this is our brochure from the YMCA, has brochures they put out. We should have brought a few today, because you might have people in your lives that may actually want to take this. Yeah. Shoot, you got to bring those. So I think that's mainly, I won't get into all the re-aim science, but this is just to say that we really hope that we can make a difference in terms of getting this out to more people. In general, we have done a bit of an environmental scan, and this group of individuals with cognitive impairment and frailty, it is sort of underserviced in terms of, they're not always programs on every corner. And that's my sort of passion, is how do we get programs to get people out and being active and socializing on every corner. So, I think that's all we had for you today. So if we had any questions, happy to take any here. Patricia, thank you so much for coming today. Listen.
Drop off some of the postcards. We're happy to put them out and take them to events.
Yeah, because you have lots of people.
Yeah. Great, thanks. Turn any questions or thoughts?
I'll just say, I know that some of our RTO members in the Hamilton area would probably like to be a volunteer.
We need volunteers.
Yes.
Excellent, because that would be, we
If
need
you
them.
can provide me with something that I can then share with our Hamilton district.
Absolutely, perfect timing. Glad you did, because we're actually, that's when we're trying to recruit probably at least 3 per class.
Okay.
So wonderful. Yes. Thanks.
Can I just ask them that? What's your volunteers do? They're there to kind of assist movement, support, that sort of
And
thing?
communication as well, and to help make those social bonds and facilitate.
Keep an eye out sometimes, you might have people with hypoglycemia.
Lots of nurses on the floor.
Yes, I have a question about the cognitive measures. I know that you're still cleaning the MOCA data and looking to the results there. So can you give us a hint whether you think there's been a change? Because I know it's not a really fine measure, right?
So we do also have the BVMT, which is the brief visual measure. Download the acronym down.
Brief visual spatial.
Brief spatial measure. Yeah. So that one, I think, could possibly show change. It's more sensitive than the moped. But we are still cleaning the data, so I don't know at this point.
And do you think that if the MOCA is not sort of picking up any signal that you might be interested in more fine measures of cognitive change, like something like executive function, working memory?
Yeah, so that's what that one will measure. Also, if this group maintains cognitive function, that's also good.
Right.
So no change is good. We're not sure. Unless Courtney wants to.
Yeah, I mean, we have some other measures too, right? Like, I mean, so just keeping in mind, it's 25 participants. At a very, of course, you need a pilot study, very important. Do we need the next study? Yes. Let's lobby for some funding. Really? Yes, yeah. So we need to look at this at 600 people, but, so yes, we would be looking for signals, for sure, in that data. And also another signal, for sure, we actually had a piece of student looking at fear of falling. This is Patricia's area, doctoral work was on fear of falling. And that did show some changes, for sure. Yeah.
Do you do a test for depression, like the back or something like that?
We do have an indicator of depression from the CESD. But we also had
We had a friendship scale, actually. Yeah.
So we have a wealth of data that we just have to start to mine into.
Yeah, I think that actually might, even though it's 25 people, that actually might show some change too, for sure. Just from what we saw, is that people were absolutely making those connections. And I think too, it's interesting, that group mainly had mild cognitive impairment. And it was just so neat to see people. One of our feedback at the end, somebody said, at the beginning, we've actually incorporated this now, is we need to do some icebreakers and go around and learn a little bit about people. Because it was only at the end that I realized, I think they were actually teachers, but John was a teacher too. And so then we would have had more to talk about. So it's building in some of those things too. So I think we might see some changes, with social measures too.
I remember we talked about this, and I think we decided to kind of bracket it for the moment, but it was whether people had experiences of dance or not. And I think you kind of hit on it there in a way, right? That you started speaking to people and we found out a bit about their stories, but it came back to me in watching your first video that I would bet there were two who were really into the movements, and I would bet they had some sort of experience with dance.
Good eye. Actually, the one, I'm trying to think, which one did we play that was, he was actually a dancer.
That's what I asked.
Because he actually did amazing because he just came and he didn't have any practice.
Yeah.
And he just showed up and did it first take. We're like, excellent choice, thank you.
So I think that's something to consider again, and I know we did say okay, that's too much for this study, but the social piece, right? It tells you a little bit about not only how far they could go, but also a little bit about, on a story level, getting back to something that they probably very much enjoyed from, earlier
those
points.
connections again.
And building that in a structure and social time, which we do. I don't think we talked about that, but that's actually part of the class, is building in some of some time to socialize too, and hear the stories.
I get, okay, so hear the stories. Yeah.
But sorry, your suggestion also to.
Well, it's just more, in some ways, it's more about, it's the difference between, is this something new that they're doing in late life, or is they're returning to something, and I think that's meaningful in both ways, but there's a potential, and it actually is kind of connected to your work about fear, and some of the work that my colleague Greta does, right? So the fear of trying something new in later life, and what kind of supports you might have to put around to help you in your sensitization, to help people, as opposed to someone who's actually looking to return to moving again in a supportive environment.
You can look at that. I think we'll ask them that, so that cohort of 600 that we're going to have stuff on. I think that we'll make sure that question's in there.
Have you ever danced before is easy enough, you don't have to know the details of it.
That would be very interesting to see, actually. Yeah.
Just about what this lady's talking about over here. I know several people that are in their, some of them died, but they were in their late 80s and 90s, and they could barely walk, and a little bit of dementia there, and so on and so forth. But if they heard music, they were up and they were a completely different person altogether. And it's like you're on a different brain channel of some sort, like your motor skills or
It's like you
are
try to switch
different
on.
from.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested in that. But the reason I came here is because I have a friend that has Parkinson's, and she's just started the Parkinson's, and well, over the last couple of months. And when I saw this about the music and the dance, I thought, geez, because I read an article there about 3 weeks ago, I don't know where it was, but they say that jumping on a trampoline, or I forget what it was called, and moving is really, really good for Parkinson's. And what I wanted to know is, how does that movement affect the, the shaking and everything else? How does that work on the, and I also have a chiropractor who's into that sort of thing as well, so.
Yeah, there's
that's
actually
what
a
I'm interested in.
lot of evidence too. They've looked at, there's been a lot of really neat practical program across the world, but they've actually done a lot of science studies on that. On the
I think it's
Parkinson's for dance.
fascinating.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, do you have any literature that I could bring?
Yeah, I could connect you with some of that,
And
yeah.
I also belong to the Y, the Seniors Y, YWCA on McMaster. And there's a lot of us there that would, like I'm 75, and there are people there that are in their 90s, close to 100, and they're sharp as a tack, but they're going downhill. And the director of the Y there, Liz Pascal, I don't know if you know her, but she is, whoa, she's a really good leader. And she's leaving her job, and I don't know where she's going, but I'm going to tell her about
All
GERAS.
right, excellent.
Because she's really on the ball. But yeah, that's what I want, is just some literature to bring back to people, and I don't know if you have any.
We can connect you, yeah, I'll get your contact information at the end.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll give you my email
Yeah,
address.
sure, yeah, that'd be great, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, this is really, really quite cool. I was just wondering, just in one of the earlier slides, you said that that one research study with the movement in the reality, the virtual reality, had the changes lasted for 6 months after. I know there are huge logistical challenges to having longitudinal studies, but I was wondering if you were planning on having any outcome measures, either contacting the participants 6 months later to do more or not.
So with the social connectivity, we still saw the coffee club going on, so that's one indicator of that. We don't have a follow-up for our pilot work.
That big failure meeting. Lance, a publication. Yeah, I mean, that's always a challenge.
Yeah.
But it's really, that's what you want to be able to show, is that they didn't decline further, so that's always a good thing in this sort of research, right? And you're creating that without declining, yeah.
I have another question, and this is maybe funding dependent, but I know that at the moment you've got your videos that are in a controlled access, right? And are there any plans to kind of make those open and public, and what would that take?
So yeah, right now they are in the controlled access for, they're open to the trainer, so for the train-the-trainer model. We just need to think about safety. If we do open it up, who would be accessing the videos, and is it safe for them to be participating? So we have some logistical things to go through before we open it.
So your concern is more safety than,
Because if someone's saying, oh, this is a video for someone with cognitive impairment and frailty, and then, oh, this is for me, but maybe it's not tailored specifically for you, or they start at level 20 when they're supposed to be at level 1. So we have to think about how to prescribe it in a free environment.
or build in kind of a pre-assessment or something. But I mean, when you were speaking about the trampoline, that was my, I'm not an occupational therapist, but I'm like, trampoline. I imagine.
That's turning out to be quite dangerous for
for
children as well.
I know, that was my fear, on something with the trampoline.
I have one.
Yeah.
You have to have sides, and it's excellent for bone density.
Yeah.
Right.
For bone density, but it's really wonderful.
Yeah, so you would know more about that. That scared me. The trampoline of myself on the trampoline.
They have a trampoline center on.
Yeah, I know.
Probably somewhere we're going to see me on the weekend. I'm sure you've been to
No, that's great, so I think that was the thing, but thinking about that in how we do make this more.
Yeah, we'll be looking at the knowledge translation.
Public,
How this is gonna-
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Great.
I'm interested in the research, big time. Yeah, if I could
Yeah,
get
thanks
more
for your
feedback.
interest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take one final question, Igor, yeah?
Yeah, I have a question about your choice of dance styles, and it's related to fear of falling and fall prevention. Have you thought of including some more experimental, maybe I'm not sure, modern dance styles, where the transition from sort of standing to to the ground is natural, right?
Yeah.
So that I don't know, you're, how should I even say it? Like, where basically the participants would learn how to fall.
How to fall.
Yes.
Little break dance.
Oh, I see, yeah.
But, yeah, like if you got, it's limon, or,
Yeah.
you're,
So how to center your finger
Exactly,
and how to
everybody
control.
Interesting.
That could almost be GERAS Dance phase 2.
Awesome.
It's important.
Yeah, and also the benefits of free movement. Your co-investigator, also a dancer, Daphne from Australia, I know both of you sort of advocated for that component too, so the benefits of that, yeah.
because you could also start, you could start on the floor too, right? And like a lot of floor, you could do a lot of floor movement, as opposed to chair movement.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Not a rap.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and that's because all our efforts are invested in sort of falls prevention, rather than why not teach people how to fall?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Great point.
Great,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I'll wrap it up for time, and it's easy to, if you have any further questions, we can connect you, or you're pretty easy to find as well. But thank you everyone for coming out. And anything else to do?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.